So before we get started into the grip, it's important to remember that this is a process. I'm going to show you how to place your hands on the club for each type of grip, putting and everything else today. And you're going to learn it today. That does not mean that you're going to remember it exactly and be able to perfectly repeat it every time after today. The only way to make sure that you're placing your hands on the club properly is to go through the process I'm about to show you for each grip. If you don't, you're going to try to place your hands on the club the right way. And you're going to think that you are, but you'll actually be putting your hands on the club in a way that's comfortable. And comfortable, when we're learning something new, usually means wrong. After seeing this happen with hundreds of students, I can say that with a high level of certainty. So let's not let that happen to you. Remember, go through the exact process we're about to go through when placing your hands on the club. Do it this way over and over and over until you move through each process quickly and easily. At that point, it'll be okay for you to cut out some of the steps of the process and see if you've still got the grip right at the end. Now that's going to seem time-consuming, maybe even embarrassing, but you'll thank yourself later if you commit to doing it now. Think of it like this. Repeating the process is how you protect your ROI, your return on investment. If you don't, you'll know this information, but you won't bring it with you when you play golf. And that makes the money and time you've invested in learning this information pretty much useless. Okay, let's go. So we'll start with the putting grip, okay? Now, I start with my palms facing each other and my middle fingers running down the sides of the handle. That orients the club how we need it, which is through the middle and covering that lifeline. I'm going to take my top hand, which is my right hand, up and out of the way and hold on to the very top of the club. My left hand, I'm going to wrap my 3 fingers around the handle, bring my index finger down the side, and place my thumb down the center. I'm going to pull my index finger out. I'm going to take my bottom hand, my 3 fingers, I wrap under my index finger. Now, most people want to just grab it and get in their hand, now I'm ready to go, but you're not, okay? I'm going to wrap those 3 fingers around the handle, under my index finger. I'm going to cover my left thumb with my right thumb and bring the right thumb also down the top of the handle. Okay, now that is your standard putting grip. This achieves one of the things that you learned in the putting lesson that all great putters do, which is we have our hands parallel to the putter face. From here, when I get into my proper posture, this makes it very easy to let that putter work as a pendulum. My shoulders, my torso, and the putter work as a pendulum without moving parts. Just my shoulders rocking around my spine, the desired length. Shorter back, longer through. Okay, let's run through that one more time. We start with our hands. On the sides of the handle, middle fingers running down the sides of the handle, the palms facing each other. Top hand comes up out of the way, holds the club. 3 fingers of the bottom hand wrap around. Index finger comes down to the side. Thumb comes down the top of the handle. Now, not over here, not this. Just straight down the middle of the handle. Index finger comes out. Bottom hand, 3 fingers come under. I cover the left thumb with the right thumb and bring the right thumb down the center of that handle also. Now, some people like this index finger here. I like it under here. I would say get as close to this as you possibly can. When that index finger is up here, it's comfortable for some people because that allows them to feel this last little flick at the end, and that's going to bring in consistency. One more time. Palms facing each other. Middle fingers running down the side of the handle. Top hand out of the way. 3 fingers wrap, thumb down the center, index finger down the side. Pull the index finger out. Bottom fingers come under. Cover the left thumb with the right thumb down the center of the handle. That's your standard putter grip. You're going to do that process over and over and over. Get it right. It's not going to feel right in the beginning. To me, it feels very natural. I don't go through that process anymore step by step. I just get right here because I've done it so often through the process. When I learned it, I did it hundreds of times that way because now it feels very comfortable. And it will for you too, as long as you go through the process of getting it right. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Go through the process, get it perfect each time, over and over and over through the process, then it'll become comfortable for you. Okay, let's move on to the everything else grip. Okay, so this is the grip that I'm going to use for chipping, pitching, full swings, bunker shots, everything. Okay, this is a neutral Vardon grip. Okay, so I'm going to show you the process. Remember, this is how you protect your ROI. Learn the process, repeat the process over and over and over. Okay. We go back to the parts of the club, and remember, this is the club face. The part of the club face that's furthest away from the shaft is called the toe. Okay, so I'm going to hold the club on the shaft with the toe pointing straight back. I'm going to hold my lead hand, which is my left hand, straight out. Notice I'm not here. I'm not getting ready to grab it like this. This is what you're going to want to find. Most people want to do. We don't want to do that. Thumb is here. I'm going to place the handle across my knuckles so that my finger lines are perpendicular to the handle with about an inch of that club sticking out of the bottom of my hand. Now here's where it can get tricky for some folks, for lots of folks in fact. I'm going to close with the heel of my hand first. Then I'm going to bring my thumb up on top. Now, what that does is create an angle here between the back of my lead hand and my lead forearm. That angle needs to stay there. So if you see your wrist flat here, where there's no angle, you've let that club turn, you've let your hand straighten out, and that's not going to work for you. Okay? So this is my lead hand. There's a couple checks here. The V formed by my thumb and forefinger points out to my right shoulder. Now, there's a little bit of variation, that's okay. It can be out here, it can be to here. What we don't want is that V pointing straight up to the chin. Now, for a right-handed player, the further our hands are to the left, that's called weakening the grip, the weaker that grip is. The further they are to the right, that's called strengthening, and the stronger that grip is. We don't want to start, we don't want a strong grip or a weak grip. We want a neutral grip. Boom, boom, and boom. The check. The other check is I want to see 1, 2 complete knuckles and a part of my third even of my left hand. Okay? If I've done that right, I've got my heel on top. I call it building the shelf. The professional who taught me called it building the shelf. I'm able to do this. Okay? And this is very important because what that allows is the club is going to stay where it belongs without me having to squeeze hard. And if you remember from the lesson on the swing, we don't want to be gripping super tight. We don't want to have everything locked up and our forearms bulging. We want that power to flow smoothly and fluidly from our shoulders, down that lead arm, into that lever that is our proper grip, down the shaft of that club, and to the club head. It's not going to happen if I'm squeezing super hard. This is just one of those things. Again, it's intentional, it's on purpose, and it is the reason I don't have to squeeze so hard. Okay? Build the shelf with that left hand, with that lead hand. It's your right hand if you're a lefty. Okay? Now, think of the right hand, your trail hand, as a puzzle piece. You've got some options. I overlap, which means I put my pinky finger up on top here. Some people, smaller hands, like to interlock, and some people prefer that 10-finger grip. I would reserve that for youth, but if you're super comfortable there, you can give it a shot. I think adult players, we have the hand strength generally to either interlock or overlap. Okay, so I've got my lead hand in place. Puzzle piece. Hill, which is my left thumb, to valley, which is that little indentation between the base of my thumb and the heel of my right hand. Hill to valley. You can be tempted to get it in your hand like this, because that feels comfortable. If I was going to hammer a nail or swing an axe, I'd probably do that too, but I'm not. I'm going to make a golf swing. So I'm going to align that hill to valley first. I'm going to overlap and then make that hill to valley join. Okay? I wrap these two fingers, need to be on the handle. This, the index finger of my trail hand, it's my trigger finger, is up towards the shaft and wrapped under. And you see that my thumb and forefinger are making just a little pinch right there. Okay? What that does, what this grip does in this position, it allows my hands to work as one. I focus on my left thumb as I'm releasing the club, and I focus on throwing my right hand over the left hand. And I want those two things to work together as one, without too much thought. The right hand has one job throughout the entire swing. It does nothing, 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 nothing. Add some juice, nothing, 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 nothing. That's it. All it does is it makes this move a little stronger. From full cock of position 2 to full release of position 8. Now, it happens down here and it looks like this. Full cock, position 2, full release, position 8. That's all it does. And this leverage point with this finger, your index finger, the leverage point up here allows that to happen more efficiently. My hand was down here, the club could turn back this way, and we're going to lose some energy there. It's going to throw our timing off. With the proper grip and my trigger finger, I call it up here, that doesn't happen. It's a more efficient transfer of power when the right hand does its only job. And you can see I'm not squeezing here. I'm not pinching. When I swing, the club actually moves loosely through my right hand, through my index finger and thumb. It's firm on the way back, but on the way through, it can get loose. Okay? Super important again, trust the process. Go through the process every time and time and time again. Can't overstate that. The importance of that, you can't make it too important, okay? Let's do that again. Hold it on the shaft, toe pointing straight back. Now that toe pointing straight back is important. And I don't mean kind of back this way, kind of back that way. It has to be straight back behind you. If it's not pointing straight back, that face is going to be either closed or open when you get your grip done. Place it across my knuckles. Close with the heel. Bring the thumb up on top. I overlap, and then I make the hill to valley join. I want big knuckle of my thumb at the base of my right wrist, hill to valley. Now I've got my left hand pulling left, my right hand pulling right, and that's what makes that a neutral grip. That makes that action that we want to have happen, which is that club face going from square to open to square to closed, it happens on its own. And we can test that. So I'll do nothing with my hands. And you'll see as I rock my shoulders, the club face is going to get from open to square to closed. Because as I turn right, my right hand, which is already pulling left, it wins out and the club opens up. When I turn to the left, my left hand, which is pulling left, it wins and that club then closes up. So that move that we want, open, square, closed, happens on its own. And again, if it happens on its own, I don't have to time it. Okay? Now we can prove that. I can weaken this grip up and do the same move, and we can see that the club never gets closed. That face will stay wide open. Okay, we're going to run through that grip one more time. Hold it on the shaft, toe pointing straight back. Lead hand is out. We place that handle across the knuckles of the lead hand with about an inch of that club sticking out of the bottom of that hand. We close with the heel. We bring the thumb up on top. I'm checking to make sure I have this angle between the back of my lead hand and my lead forearm. I'm going to make this hill to valley join. I overlap and then hill to valley. These two fingers on the handle, the two middle fingers of my right hand are on the handle. Hill to valley join. Trigger finger is up, pointed towards the shaft, and I'm good to go. This is all I need. Now some things to watch out for. You could put your hands on there, and you could say, that looks great. You can look down here, make your checks. Yeah, looks good. I've got an inch out. I can see the lines. Everything looks great there. Okay. But then what you'll do, a lot of people do this, is they get down here and they start to adjust and they call it waggling or whatever they call it. And what they're doing is getting that grip comfortable to them, which is the handle running up through the middle of the hand. And that's not the right grip. This grip creates the two-plane swing. That means the shaft is on one plane, the arms are on another plane. This is a one-plane swing. Unfortunately, you've got instructors out there and professional players telling people who are using a two-plane swing how to improve their swing, but they use a one-plane swing. It's not the same. The things that we do to make a one-plane swing work are not the same things we do to make a two-plane swing work. And the grip is the starting point for that difference. This is a one-plane swing. My arms and the shaft are on one plane. This is a two-plane swing, and it is created by building the shelf with the proper Vardon grip. Again, it allows the full cock and full release to happen exactly as it's intended to. The positions of the swing are designed to work with the geometry of the club head. Full cock, full release. So that's it for the grip. Watch this video over and over. Slow it down if you have to. Go with it, pause it if you need to. Step by step, go with it. Get this right. We only have one point of contact with the club, and that's the grip. If the grip is wrong, everything else is going to be kind of a crapshoot. You're going to find yourself having to do a lot of adjustment and correction and using a lot of hand-eye coordination to make contact. And while it's going to work sometimes, more often than not, it's not going to work. And it's going to make a round of golf a grind and kind of a drag. So get the grip right. Thank yourself later. Commit to the process now. We'll see you next lesson.